Hello, I'm Challen the Edgy Skater, and today, as part of the beginner series, I wanted to talk to you about what to wear to the rink. Alright, so I am presupposing that you are very new to skating when I go over these things. So, if this is like your first couple of times, uh, or you know you want to pursue figure skating, but you don't know what the next things are, uh, this series is for you, and we're going to address clothing. So, if you ever skated on a public ice in jeans, then you probably already know that jeans are tend to be very restrictive unless it is specifically very stretchy denim, and I feel like they just make you colder. So, if we are trying to get out of some of our normal clothes, then what do figure skaters wear? Alright, virtually all skaters have, as a first layer, tights or some sort of a skating sock, which is going to be slightly thicker kind of tight that is just cut off at like a mid-high sock length. And then popular things to do. Um, Once upon a time, practice dresses were pretty much the mandatory dress code. But now there is a big swing in skating fashion to go with leggings. These are usually, especially for a beginner who's not skating around the rink very fast yet, these are going to be some kind of thermal or a fleece lined leggings. Actually, my favorite kind of base layer clothing, I have the top on now. It's just uh, something I picked up at Walmart in their like men's uh, base active wear layer section. You could, you buy the pants and you buy the top separately. I've found that these are great, and I imagine that there must be women's thermal section with these as well. I I don't even remember the brand, if it was like Heinz or what exactly. I'm pretty sure I actually wore that information down in the back because it's tagless. But some kind of a meant for outdoor cold base layer clothing, I think is really really nice to have. Um, Really, it doesn't matter what the clothes are, so long as that they are a not restrictive, number one, because that can lead to injuries if you don't have enough range of motion to regain your balance in time, um, or it restricts your motion and that causes you to lose balance. Um, and number two, it's nice when they have insulating properties, but you could also just layer up. I wouldn't necessarily say do this for your lesson day, but if you're just getting started, wearing some kind of maybe sweatpants, that can absolutely work. Um, Again, we're looking at things in the beginning just to keep you warm and nothing that's going to limit the range of motion. If you could theoretically do a split and you could do a split in those pants, those are good pants for skating. You want to kind of be thinking like that. Um, there are, of course, skating apparel uh, brands. To be honest, get them if you want them because you like them. You don't absolutely need them. Something I've noticed with a lot of skaters, particularly in the standard track, adults tend to be a little bit more freeform. But in the standard track, and I don't know how much of this is skater preference desire and how much of it is just parents' default, but they'll stick with skating specific active wear, but it's not very budget friendly. And from my experience, I'm not going to say that it's going to keep you warmer than non-figure skating specific clothing will. Yes, it'll have the range of movement, but so will a lot of dance apparel. In fact, a big hack I recommend, um, even for testing in competition wear, is actually modified dance clothing than necessarily buying brand new skating dresses and skirts and clothing. Because for some reason, if it's figure skating, it costs more, like notably more. Although I did help someone last year pick out the dress for a show on Amazon, and the she ended up going with something that wasn't dance or skating specific apparel. But when we were looking through all the options, the dance and skating apparel there was, for whatever reason, pretty comparable or about the same prices. But when you go to like skating specific clothing websites, for some reason it's more expensive than dance. And it's not like our dresses are reinforced with anything warm. It's the same lycra based material. It's the same tulle if it's got tulle. It's the same velvet that doesn't have anything warm on the other side, so it's velveteen on the outside and still cold on the inside. We don't do anything special when it comes to that kind of stuff. But fully covered clothing, um, I would say layer up with flexible clothing if you need to, and go with fleece line things um, if you can and you don't want as many layers. Uh, the skating jackets we have there, it's a stretchy material that is fleece lined. Those tend to be fleece lined, but again, um, or it is just fleece all around. Um, you you could get one of those if you wanted. It's going to be very form fitting because coaches are going to want to see the form so they can correct the form. And skaters, for some reason, I can guess a couple reasons why they really love black. In the ballet world, um, if you were going to have clothing, they wouldn't want it to be black, especially all black. Skating does it, but black actually can hide a bit of form. Um, it's actually easier for coaches to see alignment if you are wearing less dark colors. Um, so lighter shades of gray versus practically black, gray, or navy, or green, or whatever the color is. Um, so, from a lesson standpoint, that could be something to keep in mind. Even though everyone now pretty much dresses in black, technically it's not that awful helpful for the coach. Uh, but you don't need skating specific apparel, and that can be helpful if you need to get into plus wear sizes. Some skating brands are becoming more size inclusive to a point, but there's a lot of other activewear brands that are already, further ahead in that direction. Um, so, for a variety of reasons, I don't want you to feel limited to skating, and because of the strong skater preference for black clothing, a lot of training practice wear, it tends to be very dark because public demand. But again, you could go to other athletic wear companies or dance wear companies, and you'll have a much wider color or pattern selection options to choose from. Even though in skating we do like to get kind of creative with patterns, um, with rhinestones. So I think we might have a monopoly on activewear industry when it comes to throwing not glitter but rhinestones on things. we actually don't really want glitter on the ice. It falls off, dulls blades, gets stuck in the ice. It's a problem. But rhinestones we love. Uh, but yeah, pretty much whatever you're comfortable in doesn't limit your range of movement. And for lessons, do be nice, keep in mind for the coach, lighter colors are going to be easier to correct form than very, very dark colors. Uh, Gloves, by all means, you know, glove up. Some rinks are much colder than others. I had one rink that is very old. The maintenance was not very good. That rink um could get as low as -3 degrees Fahrenheit. That's extremely unusual. It's not good. Ice can actually get so cold you can't skate on it properly, because the whole reason skating is possible is the friction of the blade is melting the ice under you, so you're technically you are gliding on water, not frozen water that you carved from the frozen water and the heat melted it. Um, but if the rink is just too cold, it's not even able to do that. Um, but anyways, your rink is going to largely determine what layer of cold protection you need. Let's see. If your ears get really cold, by all means, headbands, earmuffs, hats. At this point, go for it. Um, if you have hat and you're taking lessons, you might have to take the hat off for the lesson. Um, I don't know if I would suggest spinning with hat or trying to spin with the hat on, just in case it were to fly off. Safety hazard. Um, it's unlikely you would need a scarf if your neck gets really cold. I have at least one top that is very similar to this, but it has a really really high turtleneck. Um, that I know there's also if your neck was very sensitive for some reason, I know that there's the clothing that is just kind of like a neck. I don't know if the right word is cowl. Um, that you could put over under your regular top, and it can work like turtleneck. Uh, what else is there to say about clothing? Uh, I would say, especially as an adult, have fun with it. Bring in some of your personal style. If you love colors, by all means, wear color. If you like patterns, wear patterns. Um, if it is a design that is maybe distracting. It makes it hard to see where the hip alignment is, if the hip is slightly open or slightly closed. It creates like an optical illusion. That may not be conducive to lessons. I would hope that your coach would point it out if it was a problem. I suppose if you weren't sure if it was for them, you could always ask, or you could go with a less distinct pattern on pants. If you want to wear skirts, there's you have options of a skirt that you would pull up or a wrap skirt. And again, the dance world is where you are going to get the most variety of options for this and probably the better prices. Uh, I think I think that pretty much covers it. I guess one thing I could say for the gentleman is there is something called a dance belt, and there's a um, full seated version, which I imagine is going to be the most comfortable for people who are not familiar with dance belts. Um, I don't know if I should describe what it is or let you just Google dance belt and full seat dance belt. Um, but it's something that is going to be underwear shaped that is going to be supportive. That can potentially be helpful when you are past the point of learning how to just get around the ring, when you start getting into maybe practicing jumping or spinning, that might be a point in time where you would want to maybe look into those and see if you like them. And I haven't seen much of a price difference between that and like Dance Company versus Amazon or a place like that. Um, I would not get this pre-owned, but in my experience, they last a long time. So if you invest the money in it, you'll probably get multiple ones, um, in an order. They don't normally sell them separately. I've used to seeing them in pairs or trios, but they last. Um, the only thing is they are not plus size friendly, and if you're not used to the it's a stretchy material, but it's you have to put in a little bit of effort to stretch it to full capacity. I would personally always go larger than you think, particularly if you're not used to this kind of elastic material that's trying to really hug and hold you. You might want to, you know, bigger might be better in this case, at least till you get used to it. Uh, but that, I believe, is it for clothing. There's not too many rules when it comes to it. So by all means, feel free to express yourself. And hopefully, maybe you doing that will inspire others to like break out of just wearing all black clothing all the time. Even though I admit I am, for the most part, guilty of doing that. All right. I hope this video finds you having a good day. This video brightens your day and you have a good skate.